Yo guys, and welcome back to the Jebbo 37 YouTube channel. But today guys, we are going to be getting into the Rhys Bennett podcast at some point with myself, which is obviously called the Jebbo Talks podcast. First of all guys, I'd like to thank you for everyone for the support that they've been showing recently through the streams, through the channel and all that good stuff, man. But moving on anyway, I am just wanting to mention there is an audio delay, well not audio delay, but an audio technicality on my side, which makes the audio do sound a bit rough, but bear with me, guys. Just bear through it, man. It is what it is. It was a bit of an eventful day, to say the least, on my end of things. But for Rhys, it's all right. So obviously, you can get his responses. He's an all-round nice guy, genuine guy. And also, guys, he is doing a charity stream tomorrow, which is obviously going to be on Wednesday when it's live. And the video will be live today, which is obviously Tuesday the 19th. So he's doing a charity stream on Wednesday the 20th. So make sure you go check him out, guys. 10 a.m. start. The tweet will be in this video as well. Go check him out. And yes, guys, we'll get into the podcast now. Just want to say thank you for everything. Peace out. See you guys in another video.
What's happening, guys? Hope everyone's having a good evening, and it's a pleasure to be here.
So, going back to the whole Radcliffe border, we did say obviously you did start your youth career there. Could you tell us what your youth days at Radcliffe before you got the big move to Bolton?
To be honest, it was like my friend's dad that ran the team. And I just really enjoyed it. It's one of those like Saturday league / Sunday league where you play football at 11 o'clock on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Your mum and dad go and get a burger from the burger van. Your little sister's playing on the swings in the park. Like that was just our normal Saturdays. I love football so much, and I think sometimes I think like that was probably the most enjoyable days where you could literally just sort of like play free and just play for enjoyment. So yeah, I used to play for Radcliffe Borough on Saturday, and I used to play for Bury on the Sunday. I just used to just play football pretty much every single day of the week.
Yeah. So how did you manage to get that big move to Bolton? Like who were at the time, obviously in the Premier League?
So basically, our team was like really good. I think we had like 3 or 4 players that were like Premier League academy standard. So I think obviously we play at our own age group, and we were beating teams like 16 and 17-0. Then we'd go and play different teams of like 2 or 3 age groups up. We still beat them 5 or 6-0. We go and play like the academy sides like Blackburn, Bolton, and we go and beat them.
Yeah.
And everyone would be like, right, well, what's going on here? And people just sort of like identified like the good players on the team. And I think I remember I think Bolton eventually signed 5 players from our Sunday League team.
Wow.
And obviously paying money for like 3 or 4 11-year-olds is quite like expensive.
Mental, if that makes sense. Yeah.
But yeah, I remember I had Man City that wanted me as well. I remember going up to the first team box to watch the first team game at Main Road when I was like 10 years old. They wanted to sign me. Man United would only give me a trial.
Wow.
And it's weird because even at that age, I made a decision to go to Bolton because it gave me a better chance of playing first team football than those two.
Definitely. So we've got a question in the chat, boys. We are literally tin-potting this because I can't really have the time to. Obviously, I don't want to be wasting Rhys's time trying to sort everything out at the same time. So we are going to be getting the questions from the phone. Obviously, everything else is going to be like sorted as normal. IWZ12 says, question to Rhys: Did you ever meet like Rodrigo, Adam Moy, Gary Cahill, Daniel Sturridge, and Marcos Alonso, etc., etc.?
Yeah. We first of all, Aaron Moy is in my youth team, so he's in the same age group as me. So I played with him for like 3 or 4 years and trained with him every single day. I knew he was Premier League quality, but sometimes life happens where someone's opinion is like he doesn't work hard enough to play in the Premier League, but technically he's absolutely ridiculous and good enough to play in the Premier League. Those like Rodrigo's and Marcos Alonso, I get the sort of who's the best player you played with question quite a lot. And I could name those two, but I only really played with them in like 3 or 4 reserve team games. It's like I wouldn't say it's the same as training with them day in, day out. But yeah, it was just an incredible experience. Now thinking back at it, just going to the training ground and you might be collecting balls and watching like a shooting session, and you've got like Gary Cahill joining in, Daniel Sturridge putting it in the bottom corner, Jack Wilshere, like Nicholas Anelka and people like that, and you're getting balls into them, and you're just thinking like, this is life, like
Yeah, definitely, man,
and
definitely.
until you realise what real football is about.
So joining Bolton at the time in 2009, was it that you joined Bolton? Yeah,
Yeah.
2009. You had Owen Coyle as your manager. What were the facilities and the training like for what was the time like, and at such a like elite club, obviously in the Premier League?
Um, it was just such an enjoyable experience. Like the first team training ground where we sort of trained at from the ages of like 16 to 20 was like incredible. We had like a gym, pool, different changing rooms, ice baths, stuff like that. Like the pitches were absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just even like the food was incredible. Like,
Wow.
and just being in and around those kind of like internationals on the wall, and just
Yeah.
being on first name terms of like, I saw Ivan Klasnic out a year ago in Manchester, and like he recognized me.
Wow.
And he was like, "Oh, Rhys, how you doing?" I never played a first team game at Bolton, but I
Yeah.
remember I played in a reserve team game with him, and he was like, "Yeah, you're a good player. You should be training with us." And I remember thinking, like, that's incredible because, like, you've
Yeah,
got
definitely.
50 caps for like Croatia. Like, you've got no need to remember who I was. I was just a guy getting in the balls after training.
Yeah, definitely, bro, definitely. Moving on to the next question. If you did train with the first team, did you ever train with the first team in terms of like, or was it just getting?
Yeah, it's probably one of the regrets of my career, to be fair. I so if like the first team, like someone that didn't play or there was international break or something, then 3 or 4 of them, sorry, would drop down and train with like us the reserves at the time.
Yeah,
So I might have trained with like Kevin Davis, but in terms of like you going to train with them,
yeah.
um, I only really got asked once,
Wow.
and it was the day after I played really well in a reserve team game, and it was like I must have got to sleep at like 4 a.m. I
Yeah.
was in training for like a recovery at like 8.
Wow.
Got a little bit of a niggle, and Gaffer was like, someone was like, Gaffer wants you to train today. Can you train? And I like looked at the physio, and physio was like, well, you've got a little bit of a niggle, and I was like, I'll give it a miss, but that was the only opportunity I
Wow.
got. And I was like, you know what? That's probably a test of like my character or my mentality. Whereas, not like if you gave me that opportunity again, I
Yeah.
would have trained on like 2 hours sleep and thingy because those little moments can make the difference in your career.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, there's some big name players that were in the Bolton team, like Johan Elmander, Fabrice
Yeah.
Mwanda even, Jesus Christ, Kevin Davis, Marcus Alonso, Gary Cahill. Who would you say the hardest player, like in the team, was like? There was like hardest worker in the team, and like, what's your reasons like to say that?
Um. Well, like you can sort of see what happens behind closed doors. I remember Gary Cahill, and obviously I'm going to use him because I'm a little bit almost centre half as well.
Yeah,
I remember him. He was the first ever centre half I seen doing the shooting sessions, and he scored a lot of goals from
wow,
centre half for Bolton as well. So I was thinking, yeah, okay, I see it. And then I see him, he is the last person in the gym.
yeah,
Like, because I used to go and like fill the gym up with like protein shakes and waters and stuff like that. And you'd see him being like the last person to leave the training ground.
wow,
And then you'd be like, and when he gets his move to Chelsea, when you see him playing so well on a Saturday, then you're like, look, I've literally seen him putting in the work during the weeks. Like, it's no surprise that
yeah, definitely.
he's had the career he's had.
Um, so moving on to it, who would you say was the quickest player at Bolton then, during your time then?
Um, what Anelka was absolutely rapid, like absolutely rapid.
Yeah,
Um, but they had some really, really quick players there though. Like Martin Petrov was very quick.
yeah.
Ricardo Gardner was quick. I'm just trying to think of like the wingers. Ricardo Vastey was very quick as well.
Fast, yeah,
Um,
wow.
yeah, like Rodrigo was quick as well. Actually, I think he was like 19 when he joined, but yeah, he was
Yeah.
very quick.
mad, man. It's mad. Who would you say were the leaders in the dressing room, like at Bolton during your time there?
It's weird because like obviously, yeah, you don't know. Because like I didn't share a changing room like with them. I sort of shared the training ground, but from the times when we used to like clean boots and stuff like that, if Kevin Nolan's boots were not cleaned, and I don't mean clean, I mean sparkling, and I don't mean sparkling, I mean dry as well. Like I don't mean like
Wow.
you can have them sparkling, and if they're wet inside, he's not putting his foot in it. Like
Jesus.
he was the one that you didn't want to upset. Like Kevin Nolan, like I'm not trying to upset him. And obviously Kevin Davis when he was captain, like he didn't have the same sort of authoritarianism around him, but he you just kind of wanted to not let him down because he's
Yeah.
like such a good guy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. Question to Rhys: did you get any kits or boots from the first team players?
Yeah, and this is probably another regret. When Jack Wilshere was like here on loan, so like it's just a different world, the Premier League, before I explain this. Like they used to get like the players that are sponsored used to get like 10 pairs of boots every month or so.
Yeah.
And they'd only wear about like 2 or 3 pairs.
Wow.
But I was quite close to the kit man, which is like a very, very good move in football. And
Yeah.
he gave me a pair of like Jack Wilshere's boots at the end of the season. And I like obviously I didn't know that Jack Wilshere was going to be the Jack Wilshere that we all know he is today. And I
Yeah.
was like, obviously they didn't fit me because he's small and I'm like size 12. And I gave him away to my friends, and he ended up playing like soccer dome in them, and just like I was
Wow.
thinking, wait, I could have kept them. But yeah, I've got a few shirts and stuff like that. One of the stories is I used to clean Mustafa Riga's boots through like he was only there for like a year or so.
Yeah.
And like I think everyone that cleans boots at Christmas gets like well some sort of like financial reward. And
Yeah.
I remember saying like, "What do you want for Christmas?" And I was like, "Honestly, I don't want anything."
Definitely.
He's like, £500, £600, and I was like, inside I'm thinking, you know what? I'm on like £50 a week. Like £500 would do me absolutely
Yeah.
incredibly at Christmas, but I'm not gonna ask you for it.
Yeah. Definitely.
And I was like, honestly, I don't want anything. And like he walked in our changing room on Christmas Eve, and he walked in with like a Deco shirt. He was like very close friends with Deco, and I remember the Chelsea player and Porto Champions League winner. And I've got that literally hanging up in my wardrobe from cleaning someone's boots. So that's something that I'll take with me for a
Yeah.
very long time.
That's mental. Shane Daly says, "Who is the best goalkeeper you've played with and against?"
So the best goalkeeper I played with, and this is such a shame, but I played with Conrad Logan at Rochdale.
Yeah.
Um, and let's just say this: he isn't like the fittest of players. Like when you look at him, he's quite overweight. But he was absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like the best keeper I've ever seen. And unfortunately, he tore his Achilles and ended up being out for 18 months.
Oh.
And I actually played with him again. And he like obviously he wasn't the same after that. But before that, honestly, he was the best goalkeeper I've ever seen. And against I think no. So I played against 2 Premier League goalkeepers. Obviously Ramsdale when he was at Chesterfield,
Yeah.
and who's the Brighton Robert Sanchez who's at Brighton now, who's just broke through. But goalkeeper wise, I'd have to say, well, Jaskalainen in training maybe, yeah.
Jaskalainen, man, phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Harpy46 wants to know who's the funniest player at Carlisle.
Funniest player at Carlisle. Who do I actually laugh at? I like Mari. Mari's good, man. Mari's funny. That's Omari Patrick.
Yeah.
But there's a real good like feel at the changing room at the moment.
Yeah,
It's a good place.
Definitely. Going to go over to the Falkirk time, so the time you're at Falkirk FC. So when Owen Coyle sent you out on loan to Falkirk, what were your thoughts on obviously on the loan move? You know, obviously moving from England to Scotland and stuff like that.
So that's another one of my regrets in my career. I was playing reserves from like 17 to sort of like 19.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was so exciting at first because I was playing against like first team players, and you play against Man City and Felipe Caicedo and Joe, like seasoned international players were playing. And it'd be like so exciting. But and then I had a stage in my career where I was playing against them for like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Whereas all the kind of people around my age group were going out on loan.
Yeah.
And I had like clubs that wanted to take me on loan, but the club was saying no and no and no. And like being like a stupid teenager, I sort of lost my head and was like, well, I want to play first team football. Why am I still playing reserves? Like,
Yeah.
I want to go and like actually fight for 3 points. So I made a decision to not sign my contract, even though I couldn't go anywhere and no one could buy me.
Wow.
And literally the first week of pre-season after I decided to sign it, they were like, "You're going on loan." I was like, "Yes, cool. Where am I going?" It's like, "Oh, you're going to Scotland." I was like, "Okay, that's cool." And then I was like, "Wait."
Wow. So like, what was playing in the Scottish First Division like as a player? You know, obviously it's your first loan move, and
yeah, I remember.
Career, isn't it?
I remember I scored on my debut.
Yeah.
Like 10 minutes in, and I remember thinking, "Yeah, this is good. This is like life's great." Second game got my nose broke.
Oh.
Third game nearly got my nose broken again.
Wow.
And then after that, I quickly realized when you're playing against like 28-year-old, 95 kilogram, like lower division Scottish footballers that see you like a young centre back that wants to play like pretty patterns of football coming from England from a Premier League team, like you're gonna get rudely awakened to what first team football is.
Yeah.
And looking back on that experience really grew me up as a player and as a person, really. But I think obviously the gaffer decided to send me to his like one of his good friends who is also a centre back to a league which is very physical, which at the time was my weakness, really.
Yeah.
And sort of I really benefited from that experience, but did I enjoy it?
Yeah.
Probably not. No.
So at this point in your career, you're obviously still a very young individual. Do you know what I mean? Going to Falkirk, what was your goals? Obviously, going to Falkirk, like what did you want to achieve? Obviously, within that loan move and moving forward in your career.
It's weird because I just wanted to play week in, week out. Like yeah, at that time it felt so weird to just be like, oh, you get an extra £100 if you like play, and you get an extra £200 if you win. It's like, oh right, if we win all these games, then I could get all this money. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's like, wow, what's going on here? Like, and to like, yeah, to fight for like a promotion and to like score goals and to tackle and just play in front of fans. It's just honestly, it's literally like the best job in the world.
Yeah.
And to sort of experience that for the first time is incredible. Like I was just looking forward to it so much.
Yes, definitely. So how easy was it to settle in to Falkirk, and which players helped you adapt to life in Scotland? Because obviously moving away from England to Scotland, obviously not everyone's going to find it, you know, easy. Do you know what I mean? So.
To be fair, like I met one of like my best friends in life there, and it was kind of a similar situation where, in fairness to me though, because I came from a Premier League club, managers was mates with the first team manager. I got an incredible like apartment that was literally around the corner from where we trained.
Yeah.
But then I saw like the other side of it because we trained at like a uni, and we had like a 25-year-old trialist striker. He was actually staying in the uni halls.
Yeah.
Who didn't speak a word. Well, he spoke very little English at the time, and he was having like a little bit of a rough time settling in as well. And because I spoke a little bit of French, he just said like, "Look, we haven't managed to sort him some accommodation yet. Would you mind him like, you know, just moving in with you for a week?" And then eventually we just got talking, and we're actually very good friends to this day. But he ended up having an incredible season, scoring 32 goals and getting a move to Brentford at the end of that season. Yeah, but he was like very, very good for me, and I suppose vice versa as well. But there were times where I sort of like after 6 months I wasn't really playing as good as I can. I was missing home. I was 19, living on my own, like 300 miles away from everyone. And like, yeah, it got a little bit hard, but that experience grew me up. Like now, even though I'm enjoying being at home at the moment, I wouldn't think twice about leaving home because I've had that experience. But at the time, I feel like it's vital for you to just go and live by yourself in a new city to know that you can do that.
Yeah. Going on to some questions from the chat as well. What was your hardest game in Scotland?
You see, the thing is, right? We beat Rangers when I was there. We beat Rangers 3-2.
Yeah.
But my hardest game, I'd say we played someone like Albion Rovers. And we like won 4-1, but it's the game I got my nose broke. And I had a striker running from the touchline to the centre of the pitch for a header with his elbow out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was the most difficult for me. Whereas like it's easy when it's not easy, but like it's easy to get up for when you've got Rangers and you're playing against Jelic and David Healy and people like that.
Yeah.
And it's like I've got nothing to lose there. But then you've got like a big experienced target man, and you're like, mate, he's just 2 steps ahead of me. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What was it like winning the Scottish Challenge Cup whilst at Falkirk?
Like, see, this is the thing. Like at the time, it was like, yeah, okay, we've won that. Let's go on to the next game. But now I'm like, you know what, right? Well, as small an achievement is compared to like winning the Champions League or something like that. I've won something in football. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Many people go through a career and not get promoted or win trophies and stuff like that. But yeah, it was an incredible achievement, and yeah, I feel like we should have got promoted that year, and we finished third. But obviously, at the time, we didn't know if we finished second. Rangers went bust that year. We would have got promoted.
That's
but yeah.
So obviously, who was the most not influential, inspirational players that you like found like obviously helped you adapt as a player? Obviously, adapt to life in the Scottish League and stuff like. Who would you say was the most inspirational player to you? Like, who was the person you looked up to whilst at Falkirk?
We had an experienced centre back who was coming to the end of his career, called Darren Dodds, who, like, obviously he was 34, 35.
Yeah.
And it's funny because honestly, you're so like naive when you come into places as like a 19-year-old. I'm like looking at him, seeing the way he runs, and just thinking, like, what are you doing playing football? But then the season goes on, and you see him score goals. You see when you slip, and you think the strike is in, that he's always there, and then you're like, there becomes a realization. He's like, how does he do it? And by the end of the season, I was like, honestly, I wish I would have concentrated more and watched him more, because what a player he was. And like me being so stupid and naive, I didn't realize it.
Yeah, definitely. So it's just like when you look back now, it's a lot more. You would treasure. You'd feel like you'd want to treasure that moment a bit more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And like obviously in 4 or 5 years' time, I want to be that person.
Yeah. Did you get any other loan offers before going to Falkirk? And obviously, if so, what were they, and how come Falkirk was chosen over the other loan moves?
Yeah, so this is part of like what I was saying, why I was so frustrated. It's like I had Crew, Rochdale, who were like, and a few others to be fair as well, like who were like League One, League Two.
Yeah.
Obviously 15 to 20 minutes from where I live. I was like, this is perfect for me. Club was like, no. But like obviously in hindsight you realize why they decided to make me go there to learn from Darren Dodds, to learn from Stephen Presley as manager,
Yeah.
to learn from being in a different environment, to grow up as a person and as a player. Like, if I would have gone to Crewe, would I have played better? Yeah. But would I have been a better player? I don't know. So, yeah, I feel like, obviously at the time I was like, why are you sending me to Scotland? Like, what am I doing in the Scottish Championship? Even I could have even got a Scottish Premier League team. It's like,
Yeah.
no, you went there for a reason, Rhys, and like now you need to realise it.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I do realise that now. Yeah.
What just fell? It was me Richarlison foot card that fell off the wall. So that's what the noise was, by the way, if anyone was wondering. Richarlison decided wanted nothing to do with me wall no more. And just,
He's had enough of my talk.
yeah, fuck that, mate. He's just like moving on. So obviously after the good season at Falkirk, you know, obviously you parted ways with Bolton, went to Rochdale. Obviously back in England now.
Yeah.
What offers did you have before Rochdale, and what made you choose Rochdale over everyone else that offered for you?
Well, I think at the time I had Rochdale, I had Crewe, and I had a few others that were like a little bit further away. Crewe were like League One, and I wasn't gonna play necessarily.
Yeah.
Rochdale would have been a league below, but I was gonna play. Or
Yeah.
at least I thought anyway. And they were both managers where they previously had interest in me on loan, so
Yeah.
they really wanted me. So I was like, yeah. The money was the same. It's like, look, I just want to get playing, and obviously Rochdale, I live 20 minutes from there. Like, it's perfect for me.
Yeah, definitely. How did the manager at the time, who was John Coleman, help you settle into the club? Like, sorry for interrupting, but like, what reassurances did he give you, like, before, obviously, like, being a Rochdale, if that makes sense?
It's so weird because I'd gone from an atmosphere where it's just like it's so like regimented and professional and like I wouldn't even say professional, I'll just say it's like so regimented to John Coleman, who like we'd play table tennis, we'd like all have a laugh and joke. But on a Saturday we'd go and perform and win 3 points, and he'd be like the most jovial character, and the camaraderie was just something that I wouldn't expect, and I don't think you'd kind of get in a Premier League squad.
Yeah.
But it was just literally like, and obviously for the people that don't play professional football, it's like, you know, when you're playing like on the park with your mates, or like you
Yeah.
play Sunday League, like it was literally like that. And like I remember there's like a realization. I was like, oh, is this what football's really about?
Yeah.
But it was like, it was incredible, and he'd just be like, all right, all the young players would be like, all right, just had a phone call from Celtic. You play like that again, like they're gonna take you and this and that. And he was like massive to give like players confidence. And like, yeah, no, we had like a fine schedule where if you got in team of the week, you'd get credit. He said the worst player would wear a stinky bib in training and stuff
Ooh.
like that. If you beat the gaffer at table tennis, you get a day off. Like, honestly, the camp was just it was just so fun to be around.
Wow. So, John Coleman got his contract. Was it terminated, or did he leave, or something along that? He went from Rochdale
Yeah,
anyway.
he left in January.
Yeah, so obviously that happened. What was your feelings on that? Like, how did you feel? How did the team feel? Like, what was the atmosphere in the changing room around that point?
To be fair, like I felt really sad, if I'm honest, because there's not many managers, right? And we can kind of relate it to Liverpool at the moment. That would play a centre back at like 20, and my centre back partner was like 19 as well.
Wow.
It's like not many centre backs managers would risk. Well, you're kind of risking your job playing
Yeah.
two centre backs at that age in such a physical league. And I played really well towards like the start of his reign, and was like linked with some like good teams, and I kind of took my sort of eyes off the ball, and my performance wasn't good enough, to be honest. And
Yeah.
I kind of felt personally like, hey, I've kind of let him down here a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. How different was Keith Hill to John Coleman in terms of his tactics, the way he managed, etc., etc.?
Um, and like Keith Hill, man, wow. He sort of I should take it as a compliment, but he kind of administered the kind of tough love that I've never really got from any other manager in
Yeah,
football. And it's probably because he wanted me to sort of succeed and to play like higher than the league that we were in at the time. But he was so hard on the younger players. But at the same time, how many young players has he had under him that have gone on to make like
yeah,
big moves?
definitely.
But in terms of like general happiness, was the camp happy? Probably not in terms of like, oh, you're the best player ever and that.
Yeah,
And no. In terms of winning games, yeah. And in terms of like being successful, then yeah, under him, like probably Rochdale's most successful manager, isn't he? So
yeah.
can't really complain with that.
Um, Obviously, with Rochdale finishing 12th in the season, your first season that you were there in League Two, did you feel
Yeah,
like there could have been things like more done differently? For example, like as a team, as an individual, etc., etc.
yeah. Obviously myself, I feel like I could have played better. I think they just went down the year before. Um, and on the whole, I had a good season. So obviously when John Coleman left, I thought I could have done a bit better for him. Ended up getting my place, well, finding my feet under Keith. Playing really well actually. And then I did my knee in March, and that was my season basically done.
Yeah.
But we kind of slipped to like 18th at one point, and was
Wow.
like sort of flirting with like the lower regions of the table. But
Yeah.
we went on a good run to just kind of like secure well our status, and then obviously
Yeah.
the season after that we got promoted. So
Um, Adam says, question for Rhys: is Chris Beach the best manager in the world?
do you know what, right? Obviously, like it's not just me saying it, and it won't just be me saying it. Chris Beach is a good man, and
Yeah.
sometimes in life, good people deserve success. So
Yeah, definitely. You've been called Carlisle's hero as well, mate, in the chat. So the Carlisle
oh
fans
no.
obviously love you at the moment. Um, was there any good memories that you could take from the 2012-13 season with not Carlisle, Rochdale? And if so, what are the memories that you could take from that season?
um, I scored goal of the season. Um, yeah, I think it was that year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just remember getting absolutely. Well, obviously we're alive, aren't we? I got shouted at halftime.
I mean,
Um,
we're not PG, so you can, if you want to say things that you want to say, go for it.
um, yeah, I got shouted at halftime. I think we were 2-0 down. And I had one of those moments where I'm sure everyone's been through this. It's like, right, I'm not passing to anyone. Like everyone does it on the school playground. And I was like, right, I'm not passing to anyone. I hate
Yeah.
you all. I'm just gonna run with the ball, see if I can score. I
Yeah.
actually managed to do it. So
Wow.
maybe I should do it more often. But
Wow.
yeah, I remember that. And you know what, right? I still feel like this to this day. To this day, even though I'm 29 now, like just seeing a shirt on a peg
Yeah.
with a number and my name on the back, I was just like, I walked in on the first match, and I was just like, what? Like Bennett's free, like what?
Yeah.
That's me. You know what I mean? Like I still feel like that to this day. It's like I still look at my shirt and I'm like, hey, that's me.
Yeah,
Like
definitely, man.
I had that moment. It's like, oh, that's actually me. I actually play football.
That's
Like
mad.
honestly, like and I should probably be like, right, okay, this is normal for me now. But I
Yeah.
still can't get over the fact.
Yeah, definitely. Um, John says he sees that you play FM and he's going to follow you on Twitter, I'm guessing. Or Twitch. Both, maybe? I don't
Oh,
know.
nice.
Boys, Reese's
Yeah.
socials is on there as well, so if you do want to go follow him, subscribe to him and all that good stuff, man, make sure you do go and check him out and stuff like that.
Yeah, I love FM. I took Dulwich Hamlet from the Conference South to winning the Premier League and Champions League last year on FM, and this year I'm doing the same with Guiseley.
Yeah.
I haven't streamed for like a couple of weeks, but I'm gonna be streaming tomorrow. So
Boys, make sure you
if
go and
you want
check
to
them
see
out tomorrow as well, man.
it.
Do you want to tell everyone about the story about the whole Dulwich Hamlet and FM thing?
This is the thing, right? So I wanted to start streaming because I was speaking to one of the players that I played for Peterborough with. He was like, "Oh, you should start streaming. Like, obviously, like you're good at FIFA and that. And like you should really get into it." But then, obviously, because of like quarantine here, and I was like, "Right, what do I do?" It's like I've got a home, I've got nothing to do. Um, it's like, and I was like, actually, a guy in this chat, he gave me like another nudge, and I was like, you know what, I'm taking the leap of faith. I'm gonna start streaming.
Yeah.
So I streamed, like I played FIFA and that, and I was just looking around one day, and I was like, people actually play like FM on stream, and it just happens to like this. Well, the second biggest FM streamer is an actual Peterborough fan,
Yeah.
so I was in luck, and he sorted me out and helped me with raids and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
And I was just like, I on FM normally I do like I try and take a team from like the lower regions to win the Champions League because I like long term things
Yeah.
to keep me interested. I was like, I could be manager in Man United and win the Prem, and then like, what do you do after that? You win the Champions League, and then it's done. Like,
yeah, definitely.
so like, I have like a long term save, and I was like, you know what? Let me do this on stream. Did it on stream, like people started enjoying it and that, and yeah. Just so happens that it ended up with my Wikipedia being changed to a player for Dulwich Hamlet. A manager ringing me up saying, I heard you signed for Dulwich Hamlet. I was like, no. He's like, yeah, someone told me you signed for Dulwich Hamlet and you're giving up football. And I was like, like honestly, I'm telling you because I'm sat here right now with like no contract. I have not done that.
Wow, that's mental. Question to Rhys: did you get sacked with the first time trying with Dulwich Hamlet?
Did I get sacked first time? Yeah, I did. So like obviously my first time on stream, I was just trying different players, trying different systems. But then once we got it together properly, we won the Champions League.
Well, we've both got something in common because I've been sacked many a times on FIFA career mode on stream.
Oh yeah.
I don't know how I can manage that, mate. I've been sacked multiple times while streaming career mode, and that just obviously went out the window on that one.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think like the people that say they haven't got sacked or they haven't cheated or they haven't like when you play on stream, there's no hiding place for those that don't play on stream.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know, you can always just turn the game off, can't you?
Yeah, definitely. So going back to the whole Rochdale thing now, who did Keith Hill bring in for your second season at Rochdale? And how much of an impact did he make as a manager, and how much of an impact did the players make that he brought
in? To be fair, well, probably the one person you'd say he brought in towards the end of our first year, Ian Henderson. He went on to be a Rochdale legend and break the goals records. He's now at Salford now. But at the start of the second season, we signed a player from non-league, Scotty Hogan, who is now in the Championship, who, in the nicest way possible, made League 2 look like it was just Sunday League. Like, he'd literally take the ball, run past 5 players and put the ball in the net. And you just be like, yeah, you're way too good. Let's just enjoy him for however long he's there. But he's gone after this.
So, obviously finishing second in the league in your second season at Rochdale does obviously mean that Rochdale promoted automatically to League 1. How did you feel, and what was the team's feeling during that, like, obviously process?
It's weird because, like, we didn't expect to get promoted. Like, our budget's nowhere near sort of the top teams in the league. We started the season all right. It was always just under the radar. I feel like obviously the manager was like, we wanted to get promoted in private, and he'd drum it into the players, but in public, no one was talking about promotion.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like it was probably, well, not a lot of players win promotions, so it was definitely a great achievement, and obviously the memories I'll remember to this day. At an open bus parade, we went to Newport away in the last game of the season.
Yeah.
Just the whole day and everything around it. The mayor of Rochdale giving me my promotion medal. Those memories, like you don't get them memories like often in football. So
Yeah, definitely. So, what were your best moments from that season? Like, what moments? Like, what certain games, certain like best goals, defending
yeah,
clearances, etc., etc. Like, what was your best moments from that season?
obviously Cheltenham at home, knowing if we won, we got promoted.
Yeah.
We had took the lead after 30 minutes, and then we went 2-0 up,
Yeah.
and that was pretty much it. Obviously, we had a pitch invasion after that. But also in that season, we like beat Leeds in the FA Cup.
Yeah.
There was a good like cup run as well. But it's weird because like we didn't beat any of the top six. So like if you're looking for like, oh, it was this game that I knew we'd get promoted. Like
Yeah.
that was an incredible win. Like no, it was so weird. We'd win 4 games, beat the bottom of the table, play someone in the top six, get beat 3-0, and just cycle repeat.
Yeah.
And it's weird because we didn't beat anyone in the top 6 or 7 and got promoted. On
Yeah.
nearly one, we lost the lead on the last day.
That's
But yeah,
annoying.
it's weird.
Um, did you have anyone trying to buy you from during obviously your first and your second season at Rochdale? And if so, who were the clubs?
Um, First season, like obviously you can't really read too much into rumors, and these were interested. You don't really
Yeah.
know how much are until obviously you get bought. But when I initially started, I did have championship interest. Um, and then in my second season, um, I, Everton were interested when I was 23
Wow.
in League One. Yeah.
Mate, you should have came to us. You should have came to us, mate. It would have been a
Oh,
masterclass.
my life would have been better. Yeah, of course.
Mate, Everton, man. Wow. How come you didn't
um,
choose Everton then? Like, what made you stay at Rochdale?
um, I did. Well, I did my cruise ship 2 days after.
Wow. So I'm
Yeah.
guessing that offer at that point then just went.
Yeah. It's like I was play. Well, another thing is as well, like I was playing every single position on the pitch.
Yeah.
For Rochdale, played like right wing, left wing, centre mid, centre back, left back, right back. I was like, no. If I was a centre back slash right back slash CDM my whole career, I think it would have turned out different.
Yeah.
But then you kind of realize like you do this to help a manager out and to help the team out, but does it
Yeah,
help you out? Like if I would have played for 10 years at centre back, would I have had a different career? Obviously, you don't really know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like at the time, I did really well. We're playing against Stoke in the FA Cup. Played really well. Scored against them. That thing came out about Everton, and then 5 days later, I went into a tackle at Coventry, and that was my season done. So
Wow. What expectations were set for the 14-15 season at Rochdale? Obviously promoted to League One now. It's your first season in League One. So like, what were your expectations for that season?
it's so weird because I think. Well, I can say this now. So we had basically clubs in the lower league, or especially Rochdale. Like we had a promotion bonus where it was like all in. So like if
Yeah.
you got promoted, you got a share of let's just say 200k.
Yeah.
But for every win, you wouldn't get £300 or £400. It was like you either get promoted and get the money, or you don't get anything.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of football clubs, they'll pay you weekly for getting wins. They'll pay out all of that money. Then you could lose for the last 4 games, don't get promoted, and it's like, well, we're out of pocket now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So we got a big promotion bonus, and they said to us at the start of that season, you can have the same promotion bonus for staying in the league.
Yeah.
And we lost our first 3 or 4 games in the league, and we was like, yeah, this is definitely a step up. I remember it's not to not be disrespectful. Like if someone shoots from 35 yards in League Two, it's likely to go over the ground, over the stadium.
Yeah.
I think we let someone shoot from 35 yards in League One, and he hit the crossbar in the first game. I was thinking, whoa, this is a little bit different.
Yeah, exactly.
It took like a month or so to get used to it. But we ended up finishing the top 10, and like we just missed out on the playoffs. So
yeah, definitely. Obviously, how much did the team change during that period, and what was it like without Scott Hogan?
Obviously he was like a big miss, but you know when someone's like that good, you can't expect them to stay. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just want them to go and get the money that they deserve, go and play at the level they deserve, and be happy because like you could see that he was way too good for like League Two, unlike League One. And to be fair, like other people stepped up. Like Ian started scoring like lots of goals. Matty Doan in the first season started scoring lots of goals. Like we got goals from like different areas. So like it's always a thing, isn't it? Like at football club, like someone leaves, right? Who's gonna take his place? And sometimes they buy a replacement, or sometimes you find a replacement from within.
Yeah, definitely. What was the expectations that were set for you in League One?
We were just to stay up really.
Yeah.
Obviously the manager, he wants to win every game, but there wasn't really like we need to do this or we need to do that. When it became quite clear, it's like, you know what, we could actually make a run for these playoffs. You know, we could go bang bang.
Yeah.
And then it was like, hey, we'll go for this. We had a little look at this league. We're actually all right. Like, you know what, let's go for this.
Yeah, definitely. Adam says, question to Rhys, was the 14-15 season the one where you hammered Carlisle at Rochdale like 3-0 or something?
It might have been, yeah. It might have been. I think I can remember at home we won a lot of games 3-0. I don't know why. It just seems like every home game we won 3-0, and then we'd lose 3-0 away from home and just absolutely capitulate.
Definitely. What was the feeling at the team when Rochdale reached the fourth round of the FA Cup?
It's weird. Honestly, it was just so like special. Like, and everyone's sort of like League Two, League One. They want to play against the Premier League teams. You want to play against the Championship teams. You want a good draw, and it's like, yeah. Oh, someone's cooking dinner. You want to get the big team, so it's like I want to see how far we can go, and obviously for the club and for the finances, it's like very good for them. So you just want to play against the best players.
Definitely. What was the season like for you? Obviously, the first season in League One as an individual.
It's weird because, like, obviously in League Two, like, you know people, but you don't really know people. In League One, I remember playing like CDM against Romain Sawyers when he was at Walsall. Obviously now he's in Premier League, and then the next week playing against Danny Mayer at Bury, who's like obviously a very good player. He's at Plymouth now, and then the week after that playing against Nathan Byrne. And he's in the Championship, and then you play against Bristol City, and I play against Luke Ayling, and like I'd specifically mark their best player. I don't know if you watch basketball, but like I'm literally like the guy that they try and stop, like Steph Curry or LeBron. Like I'm literally like the lockdown defender. I was like that in football, and it's like, right, we'll try and take their best player out of it, and thingy. But then I was like, this is incredible playing against these kinds of players, and I actually know and remember these guys. There were like a couple of guys that have come down from the Prem. I was like, oh, I actually like. I'm so excited to go and play against this guy. Like, I want to see what he's actually like.
Yeah, definitely.
And I still kind of feel like that a little bit in football.
Yeah.
Like we played against Nathan Delfonso at Bolton the other day. Obviously, he's like old now, but he's like, I remember Nathan Delfonso when he came through at Villa, and I remember thinking, I just look at him like, that's Nathan Delfonso, you know. Like I just took off him. Like sometimes I just think
Wow.
that.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously finishing 8th in the first season in League One. Do you feel like Rochdale overachieved on that season, or do you feel like he could have done more?
Well, budget wise, probably bottom of League Two, so definitely, definitely overachieved.
Yeah,
I, s- I don't know. Could we have done more? I mean, everyone will say that, won't they? That, like, I'm sure there's games that everyone could have wished they'd have back, and they should have scored this, or they shouldn't have conceded this
yeah,
goal. I mean, but
definitely.
I think it was like obviously it gets to a point where you have like a cycle of maybe like 18 months where you do really well, and
Yeah,
when you're a club like Rochdale, then everyone comes and takes your best players. Like we were like sixth in the league at, oh, I think it was in like January, and Sheffield United were in our league, and our top goal scorer that basically replaced Scotty Hogan went to Sheffield United and went from a decent wage for League One to a ridiculous wage from League One. And can you blame him? No.
yeah,
Like, can you blame
exactly.
the club? No. But
Yeah,
at the
definitely.
same time, like, you're never going to get to competing for the playoffs with teams that are just financially not in the same league as you.
Yeah, exactly. Moving on to the 15-16 season, which was obviously your last season at Rochdale before making the move to Mansfield Town. Did you know deep down that it was your last season at Rochdale?
Um, yeah, like obviously, um, it was a very funny season. I broke my arm in pre-season and then just couldn't get fit until like February time through little like knocks and
Yeah,
niggles that I never really had in my career, and I haven't really had since, touch wood. But I kind of got a little bit. I nearly left the summer before,
yeah,
and I got a little bit disillusioned with just playing in like every single position. It's like, no, I want to be a centre back, or
yeah,
like, if you don't want to play me centre back, then just let me leave and go somewhere else and play centre back. I don't want to play right wing for you. I'm not going to have a 10-year career playing right wing because I'm not a right winger. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, definitely.
Like, it's okay to have me do this for your team, but what about my career?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. So then I was like, I remember there was a conversation with a top League One team, and it was like, yeah, we really like Rhys as a player. They said this to my agent, but where does he play?
Yeah,
And at that moment, I was like, all right, you know what? If I have to start again, I'll start again because I need to set myself in a position and go out and
yeah,
play
yeah,
week in,
definitely.
week out and be like, Rhys Bennett is a centre back. He's a good player, blah,
Yeah,
blah, rather than Rhys Bennett is a utility man or this or that.
a
Like, no,
versatile
it's not
player.
all what I want it to be.
Yeah, definitely. Only making 21 league appearances and scoring 2 goals that year. Was the lack of
Yeah.
appearances due to it being a contractual situation, or was it injury that kept you out of the team?
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys can see. Yeah, you can see the scar a little bit, but I broke my arm. I fractured it in four
Wow.
places in pre-season. Um, and it was such a freak injury. So that kept me
Yeah.
out for 3 months.
Wow.
Came back, tore my hamstring. I played on like a grade 1 hamstring, and because I hadn't played that season, and the manager was like, "We need you back." I was like, "I can feel my hamstring, but I don't want to let him down here."
Yeah.
Mistake. Completely tore my hamstring nearly off the bone.
Wow.
Was out for like 2 months with that. Came back, rolled my ankle, and I probably shouldn't say this, but it is hard when you haven't had a proper preseason to like stay
Yeah.
fit.
Definitely.
Um, and I'm touching wood right now because I haven't had a proper preseason this season. But touch wood, I'm managing to stay fit.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously finishing 10th that season. Was the team and management satisfied with that finish in the league?
Um, well, obviously after you finish eighth, it's like, okay, what gets us to the next level?
Yeah.
What's gonna make us be able to challenge for the playoffs? Um, and it's probably another great season. And even like obviously since we've all left Rochdale, and all the good players have well, it's a bit disrespectful. Like, all the players that have gone on to do
Yeah.
like play at better levels have sort of left, and there's a new cycle of like good young players,
Yeah.
probably not good enough to play at that level yet. And then after another couple of years, then the youngsters become of age and then they leave. And like
Yeah.
all clubs go through cycles. And like obviously you could see that that was kind of the end of our cycle there.
Yeah.
And then
Definitely.
the club started to sort of 12, 14 for now. The like obviously I still think they'll stay up, but they're sort of just, managing to tread water in League One.
Yeah, definitely. Did you end up becoming a leader in the Rochdale dressing room?
No.
No.
To be honest, and like obviously this is something that you sort of you get better with age at. Like I was always like I am who I am, like I am an
Yeah.
individual, but unless someone sort of like talks to me,
Yeah.
I wouldn't talk to them.
Yeah.
Whereas like I'd know what to do tactically, and I think I'm a decent character.
Yeah.
Obviously it's up for debate. But I wouldn't be that kind of person to be like tell someone that's older than me, hey, you should do this. Like that's not who I am.
Yeah.
But I think the more you sort of play and the more you realize like you come to that stage where it's like, Rhys, if you don't tell him and he doesn't do it
Yeah.
and you lose, like what are you doing?
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
like you learn to sort of socialize and speak to people in a nice way, take criticism, give instructions, and that just comes with age.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not like I'll always be who I am. I'm
Yeah,
not the
definitely.
most like loudest. I'm not the loudest person in the room, but
Yeah.
if sort of like if you can help someone, then you need to help them because then
Yeah,
you should
definitely.
hope that they would help you.
Yeah, definitely. Um, who was the most talented player during your stay at Rochdale?
Um, Jack O'Connell was very good.
Yeah.
Jack O'Connell was very good. Um, he was only here on loan, but it's one of those things where he used to come to a away game and he used to have like meal prep food. This was like 4 years before meal prep became the thing.
Yeah. Wow.
He used to come with his little like freezer bag and like he come with his meal preps. Everyone else be having Dominoes after the game. He's like, nah, having my meal preps. He used to go to the gym before training. He used to have like egg white omelet. I remember this because I remember thinking like, what's this guy doing?
Yeah.
I mean, he used to have like an egg white omelet at like 7:30. Then he used to do this. Then he used to do that. Then
Yeah.
he used to do that. He used to come to train. Then he used to do this. Then he used to do that. And you can see why he made it to the top.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I've got absolutely every single bit of love for someone that dedicates themselves like that, and they
Yeah,
deserve
definitely.
absolutely everything that they can get.
100%. What would you say was your most memorable moment at Rochdale?
Um, yeah, that we lost 4-1 against Stoke, but that was the best game of my life.
Yeah.
Played centre mid, which again is a little bit debatable considering I'm a centre half, but played well against Steven and Zonzi, and
Yeah.
played against Bojan Kirkic, who obviously won the
Wow.
Champions League and people like that, and yeah, that was probably the best moment of my career, scoring a goal in that game.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously against players like Nzonzi, Bojan as
Yeah,
well, as you mentioned. Going
yeah.
to move on to the Mansfield Town season now, which is obviously your 16-17, your 17-18.
hmm
So obviously after a long time at Rochdale, what was it like to adapt into a new team? Obviously moving to Mansfield Town.
It's like obviously I touched on this before, where I was like, look, I just want to play right back and centre back.
Yeah,
I don't mind dropping down to prove my point and to come back up.
yeah,
Like I just want to go and play. And the manager, who I think is now assistant manager at Barnsley, Adam Murray, he had a lot of faith in me.
yeah,
And it was also quite new because like obviously I lived away from home when I was 19,
yeah,
but obviously Rochdale, looking back, I was probably a little bit in my comfort zone. So I live at home, go and play go to training, come home.
Yeah,
Mum's cooking me
definitely.
lunch. My mum's cooking me dinner. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
um, it's like just go and live in a different city when you want to eat. It's on you. You can't have a takeaway because that's not healthy. Like,
yeah,
you need to go and like cook. Like, I could cook, but it's like it's different when it's like completely on you. You're in a different
yeah,
city.
definitely.
You need to adapt. Like, you need to eat healthy. Like, it grows you up as a human being. And I really love the experience.
Yeah,
And yeah, like I love Mansfield Town.
yeah.
It's probably like a real family club.
Wow. Um, did you ever feel like going from Rochdale to Mansfield was a step down in your career?
Um, no, because I knew what would I be like in 4 or 5 years' time, just being a utility man,
Yeah,
just being
exactly.
around the squad, being on the bench. Like what I'd be a utility man in League Two in 4 or 5 years' time. Whereas
Yeah,
I knew if I dropped down, I'd back myself ability wise to rise back up.
yeah. Was there any of the Mansfield team that helped you adapt to the Mansfield way?
Um, to be honest, right, other than the situation I have now, I'd say that was the best group of lads I'd ever like been around. I'm still friends with them to this day.
Yeah,
Like, we're still in a group chat. All the guys that the manager signed me signed. We still speak. We still
yeah.
meet up. Like,
Wow.
um, yeah, like that was the closest I've ever been to my teammates. So,
Yeah, definitely. Um, so which players at Mansfield did you see as the most talented in the club when you first joined?
mm, um, obviously, our marquee signing that summer was Danny Rose.
Yeah,
And he played for Bury, and obviously I played for Rochdale, so I kind of knew a little bit of him, and I was like, yeah, he's a good player. But obviously the chairman at Mansfield, he has money,
yeah,
but I'm not too sure whether Adam Murray, being a young, inexperienced manager, got the backing
yeah,
that other managers have since had. And it's like we had some like talented players, like obviously CJ Hamilton was there. He was young. He's
yeah,
now at Blackpool. Obviously one of my best friends in football, centre back there and captain, and he's a legend now, like Christian Pearce.
yeah.
I really enjoyed playing with him.
Wow.
We're very, very close off the pitch. But yeah, we had some good players, but then obviously 6 months later, Steve Evans comes in and we're signing players on like very, very good money for League Two level.
Yeah, I
So
was going to mention that. Obviously when Murray, did obviously get sacked and Steve Evans got brought in. What was the team's reaction and your reaction to that?
it's weird because obviously I've never experienced him before.
Yeah,
Obviously, chairman comes in. Obviously, manager sacked. He's like, it is who you think it is, because like all the lads are like, who is it? Who is it? Does anyone know anything? Like,
yeah,
look at the
exactly.
book. Who's the bookie's favourites? It's like, hey, Steve Evans is like a very short price, you know. It's him. And it's like, nah, it can't be him. And obviously, the chairman was like, it is who you think it is. Like, he's coming in tomorrow. And
Wow.
then I must have like 7 or 8 messages on my phone, like, "Oh, it's Steve Evans, your career's done. You're effed. You're this. You're that. Like, he's he's horrible. He's this. Like, you ain't playing. Like,
Wow.
he's gonna get you out within week one." Like, I remember thinking, "Oh God, what have I done here?" It's like, come in, like, I think we trained at St George's Park
Yeah,
on his first day. Um, and he come around to the changing room, shaking everyone's hands. Him and his assistant. Obviously, I didn't know him or his assistant.
yeah.
Assistant's going, shake, nice to meet you, nice to meet you, nice to meet you, nice to meet you. Oh, Benno, what's happening? How are you, mate? Da, 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 da. I'm thinking, I don't know you. Like,
Wow.
I was like, okay. And literally from that day, the assistant has loved me.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know why. But apparently that he tried to sign me when they were at Rotherham or something.
yeah.
So
Because I was going to say, obviously, how did you feel when he got appointed. Obviously, what he achieved at Rotherham as well, mate. But it's just mad. As someone said in the chat there, Steve Evans' love child. So it's one of them.
Do you know what? Like, you win football games. You have lots of days off. You have, I mean, everywhere he goes, you get good money.
Yeah.
Your facilities are very good because he demands the best.
Yeah, definitely.
So in terms of like an actual lifestyle, when you take the fact that you get shouted at every day,
Yeah.
out of it, the lifestyle is good.
Yeah.
But obviously, yeah, I think it's changed as well because one thing that sort of aided it is when transfer windows had a definite opening closing date, he couldn't be the manager that you lose a game on a Saturday and there's 3 new players in your position coming in on a Monday, whereas you could be with like emergency loans and stuff like that. So I think that's calmed the situation down a little bit.
Yeah.
But before that, yeah, like I remember there's tales of like you lose a game and there's 2 more right backs in, and they lose a game and there's another right back coming in. It just used to be like a conveyor belt of players, whereas it's not the same with him nowadays.
Yeah, definitely. Did you see finishing 12th as a poor finish for Mansfield in that first season?
In the first season, we were down in 18th. When he joined.
Yeah.
So we were like 18th, 19th, and then January came in. He brought in some good players, and we had to go at the playoffs. Wow. We missed. I think it was like 3 or 4 games to go, and I think we should have beat Portsmouth, and then we ended up losing 1-0, and that basically put us out of it. But like obviously in the league, like there's 4 places, but there's only like a point or 2 in it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely.
So like, we just missed out on the playoffs, and then obviously the last game can't really get the playoffs. Yeah. I don't think I cared about it because I played every minute of every game that season.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, okay. And they were even joking about it as well. They were like, I'm bringing you off in the 89th minute. I'm like, I'm telling you now, yeah, I'm not coming off that pitch. You're not dragging me off. Like, I want to get that record.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Did you get dragged off in the 89th?
No, I'm not. I'm telling you, even to this, I'm not coming off. I was not coming off that pitch.
Madness, man. So going on to the 17-18 season, obviously you had Steve Evans there. What was his expectations for you that season? Like the team, etc., etc.
It's weird because I remember thinking, right, okay, I've done well here. Like I've won pretty much every Player of the Season award. Yeah. I'm going into the meeting thinking, right, I could be getting a move here. Like, if not, because I signed a 1 year with a 1 year option. It's like, if not, he has to reward me because I've got money now. Like, I've seen him bring all these people in January. Like, either way, I'm like, yeah, I've had a good season. I'm about to get rewarded for it. So I'm walking into that meeting and I'm like, here we go. And he's like, I was like, even if he lets me go, I'll go somewhere else. And like, because I know I had a lot of interest in me.
Yeah.
It's like, either way, I'm chilling.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. He's like, you know what? You've done really well. Played incredibly for me. We're taking up your option.
Yeah.
I was like, what? So obviously I'm not going to talk about figures, right?
Yeah.
But my option would have been 2 or 3 times less than the players that they signed in that summer to effectively replace me. So yeah, I'm not going to talk about figures, but I'm just talking about in terms of perspective. And I'm like, right, okay, so I played really well at centre back. You're going to keep me on this money at centre back and then sign 2 experienced centre backs to effectively replace me on treble my money.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I was like, why didn't you just let me go if you didn't want me? Like, and that summer was weird because I remember Coventry put in a bid, Lincoln put in a bid. He wouldn't accept it.
Yeah.
He wanted more money. I wasn't going to play. Weird. And then November time, couple of injuries. I get in the team, and then it's weird because I wasn't playing. He said, I remember there was 6 weeks to the January window, and I remember this training session like it was yesterday. And he's like, listen, January's coming. So if you're not playing and you're not happy, like, we'll let you go. And I remember thinking, like, where do I go from here? It's like League Two. No, I honestly remember this.
Wow.
And 2 weeks later, a couple of injuries, I was in the team. I had such a good 6 weeks that at the end of December/January, they were talking about a new deal. And I was like, not signing a new deal. I don't want to stay in League Two.
Yeah. Man, that's mental. That's absolutely mental.
Yeah, so at the end of that season, he ended up taking me from Mansfield to Peterborough. But at the start of that season, I couldn't get in a League Two team.
Yeah, I was gonna obviously moving on to the whole Peterborough thing. So was Steve a big factor in you going to Peterborough? Obviously at the time, well, they still are now in League One. Was Steve a big factor for you going there?
Yeah. Obviously, it's gone from a manager which he was all right at the start. Then he was like, he's done me over here.
Yeah.
And then I sort of work my way and fight my way into his plans. And it's so that in the summer, he, like, literally 2 days after the season finished, he's like, I want you to come and sign for me.
Yeah.
In sort of hindsight, should I have waited longer and got myself a better situation? Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But this is what I'm saying. Like, football's such a strange game because, Steve, like, we were doing really well. Steve left in, I don't know, maybe February or something.
Yeah.
And we were like 3 points from top with like 15 games to go, and we'd won like 5 in a row.
Yeah.
Like, David Flitcroft came in, who was the best mate of Keith Hill.
Yeah.
Who in the last year I didn't get on well with. And I remember thinking, here we go. We won none of the next 8 games.
Yeah.
And from like a ridiculously strong position, ended up like fighting for the last place in the playoffs. And I just remember everything just changed. And obviously I said what I said to Steve about me not signing for another contract for League Two.
Yeah.
But he ended up wanting to get his own players in anyway.
Yeah. Definitely.
And he was telling me, he was like, look, I don't think you're the right fit for me, blah, blah, blah. We're gonna obviously circulate your name around. I've had a couple of offers from like a League Two team that are like lower down than us. Like, I think you should go with it. I remember thinking, right, respectfully, like, who are you talking to? Like, literally 2 months before, I was talking about going to the Championship, and like, I've got League One managers ringing me, but you want to send me to someone that is less than Mansfield just for your ego. And like, even Mansfield fans to this day, they think I'm like a snake because I joined Steve Evans, but they didn't actually offer me anything.
Wow, that's
so it's so weird because like, I stayed in Mansfield, in an apartment, in like the club apartment. And when I got released, like, everyone, like, it was like, oh, I can't believe you've been released. Da, 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 da.
Yeah.
People from the club, because I had such a good relationship with them, were like, look, take your time with the clubhouse. Take as long as you want, moving your stuff back and forwards. 2 days later, I was signed for Peterborough. They was like, we want you out within the week.
Wow. Was it that bad?
Just because Steve, like, essentially, like, messed them over. But I'm thinking, like, what do you want me to do? Like, you didn't offer me a deal.
Yeah.
I think I was good enough for League One. Like, you didn't offer me a deal in League Two. So why would I just not go to that?
Definitely.
Like, no, it's just. But definitely. Yeah, it's weird.
So how did it feel to be back in League One at that point then? Obviously, Peterborough, a very well-established team in League One. A very big team in League One. Like, what's obviously the processes behind that? Like, how did you feel, during that stage of moving?
Obviously, like it was, it was, it was good at the time because it's like, okay, I have a familiar environment. I got a manager that shouts at me every day, but he must like me. Like,
Yeah,
played well for him at Mansfield. I've worked him over. He's brought me here.
yeah,
Um, Obviously, like this league's a step up, but I dropped down to Mansfield to play centre back and to essentially move back up, and yeah, job done kind of thing.
yeah,
Like now, obviously, he's talking about getting promoted. We won first, and this is weird as well because like I knew that they were gonna sign two centre backs, and I wasn't necessarily gonna be the starter. But
yeah,
I knew with Steve, the thing that I know is even though like he's gonna shout at you every day, he's honest in his team selections.
yeah,
It's like so there could be someone on, and obviously these are examples, £500 a week and someone on £3,000 a week. If £500 a week player is playing better than £3,000 a week player, he plays.
yeah,
So then I was like, okay, I might not have been the most established choice at centre back, but
yeah,
guess what? There's 6 weeks of pre-season. I'm going to come here and try and prove why I deserve to play in this team.
yeah,
And yeah, like obviously, some of the comments like, yeah, he'll be good for the squad, blah 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 blah, and I'm thinking, nope, that's not happening. I ended up playing the first game of the season, and we won the first 8 games of the season. And I remember thinking, you know what, this is the life. Went to
yeah,
Charlton
definitely.
away, won 1-0. I remember thinking, hey, this is easy. Like we're getting promoted here.
Yeah, that's mental. What was it like playing with players, obviously such as Ivan Toney, Lee Tomlin, Marcus Maddison, etc.,
Yeah,
etc.?
do you see like one of the first training sessions? It's like in with all due respect, like in League Two, if someone's got the ball in like a crossing position, they normally just cross it into an area. And like if you put yourself in a decent area as a centre back, you put your head on it, you just head it
Yeah,
out. I remember the first like preseason sessions with like Marcus Madison's on the ball. I remember thinking, right, okay, he's about to cross it. He literally put it on a sixpence for the striker
wow.
and like got this scored. And I remember thinking, oh, this is different.
Yeah,
I need to concentrate and I need to mark the striker
yeah,
when the ball is wide here. Like there's no I remember just thinking like, yeah. And obviously like in League One as well, uh like the style of play is different. Like if you constantly give the ball away, you're not gonna get it back.
yeah,
So I remember people are just like when you give the ball away, it's like a bigger thing. Because in League Two it's like we'll try and put our striker in. They'll try and put the striker in, and
yeah,
rinse repeat for literally 90 minutes. Whereas
yeah,
in League
definitely.
One, it's like you try and do that, you're not getting the ball back for a good 10 minutes. So
Would you say that League One's more obviously into like more tactical than obviously League Two?
yeah, obviously we're coming off the season where Wickham got promoted, but they're a bit of an anomaly. If you look at
Yeah,
the top 10 teams in League One, they all play the same way.
yeah,
Um, and they're just like subtle differences in the way they play. But um, yeah, like League One tactically, it's a lot better. Technically, in terms of the teams at the top,
yeah,
it's a lot better. And yeah, like obviously, your styles of play that could be effective in League Two are not necessarily effective in League One.
yeah, definitely. Um, how did obviously Steve Evans got released from his contract at Peterborough that season. Obviously he went, obviously whatever the circumstances were. How was what was yours and the team's reactions to that?
Um, well, it's weird because obviously they will think I'm some sort of inside agent. But like he has an acquired taste on players and staff and people in general, isn't he? Like there are gonna be a lot of people that even like that was just like never play for him again. Like
Yeah,
they won't like the way how he's managed them. They'll they won't like him as a person.
Yeah, definitely.
And even though obviously I've been and played with him before,
Yeah.
and know what he is like as a person, I sort of made the decision to get past that and just sort of get by. But yeah, like obviously it was strange because we were sixth in the league and we started the season so well.
Yeah.
But I feel like obviously in terms of relationships and stuff like that,
Yeah.
that was more the reason why he departed, and maybe style of play as well.
Yeah. What was Darren Ferguson like as a manager then?
Um, Tactically, he's very good.
Yeah.
Um, Obviously changed style of play. We try to sort of do it the non-Peterborough way under Steve. Like,
Yeah.
try to be tough to beat. We didn't try and play in the counter, but it just so happened like that. We were very good at it. And sort of went back to the Peterborough style of play.
Yeah.
Play it short, play out from the back. And yeah, it was good. It was like very, very tactical. We spent a lot of time on the training pitch just going through patterns, and whereas everyone's like, "Well, we want to play five sides." I was like, "No, we've got a game. Do this. We've got to do this. We've got to do that."
Definitely.
And I kind of feel like this as well. I think tactically, he's probably better than League One. Whereas, and this is not like, and obviously this is on me as well. Like, I kind of felt like the things that he was doing
Yeah.
and wanted us to do, not that we couldn't do it, but like we tried to do it, but we weren't very good at it. But
Yeah,
like maybe like a Championship player or a Premier League player would be able to play that way, and it was kind of like Man City football. And like I don't know whether that works in League One and whether you've got time to do that over like 3 or 4 months in League One. And I mean, like I know it works because you've seen like maybe Sheffield United, etc., come from League One doing it like that. But it takes 2 or 3 years to develop that style of play.
Yeah, definitely. Lead us as well. Thank you so much for the raid, mate, and I hope you did have a good stream, brother. Who would you say was the best player for Peterborough in the 18-19 season?
In that season,
Yeah.
Dembele, ridiculous.
Not Ivan Toney, no?
No, that's why I said that season. Yeah, in that season, Dems was slightly better. Ivan over the second half of the season was absolutely incredible, and he carried that form into the season after. And then he was probably he is the best player I've played with. But Sariki Dembele in that season was probably better. Ivan didn't play for the first 2 or 3 months.
Wow. Was that due to injury or he just couldn't get into the team?
No, we had Jason Cummings and Matty Godden.
Right.
Who, like I said, we won the first 8 games of the season.
Yeah.
And they were scoring goals after goals after goals, and then there's Jason Cummings, and ended up leaving in January, and then January onwards under Fergie, Ivan became like the main man, and then for the rest of the season he was good.
Yeah, definitely. Something probably now moving on to what is probably the most controversial season. Global pandemic, coronavirus comes in, COVID-19. Was it disappointing to only make 18 appearances in all competitions in your second season at Peterborough?
Obviously there are sections of what happened that year that you can't really talk about. But I feel like in my first season I started off incredibly well. I had a patch from January to March where I didn't do myself justice. Like I'll hold my hands up, I wasn't very good. And I understood. I was like, okay, new managers come in, you sign for the old manager. He wants to get his players in naturally. You haven't shown what a good player you are. But you've still managed to play like 37 games. You've scored like 4 goals. Like now's the time I can sort of, before you sit on the bench the whole season. Now's the time to kind of leave. Like and just go and prove it somewhere else. And I was like, yeah, I had that mindset. And it was weird because I had this conversation with my dad and my agent, and I'm thinking, because he said to me at the end of last season, because I didn't play really well, and then we had a shot at the playoffs, and the team that nearly had the shot at the playoffs did quite well. And I remember thinking, I'm not getting, like, from what he was saying to me, I'm not getting in this team. So I kind of knew. I was like, okay, I want to leave. And my dad was like, what do you want to leave Peterborough for? Like, the top of League One, they're going to go for promotion next season. They're going to have a big goal. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not going to play. So that's not going to be me. I'd rather go and play. And if there are a mid-table League One team, then so be it. I'd rather play than sit on the bench. So I decided I wanted to leave. They were like, no, you've done really well for us. We're not letting you leave. And I remember thinking, no, I haven't. Don't do this. Like, don't, like, just tell the truth.
Yeah,
I know when I've played well. I know when I've not played well. Don't do that and then just be like, right. So they basically said, you're not going. And then 6 weeks before the season started, yeah, you can go.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, cool. It's like I had some League One options. It was like, no, we want, like, you're not going to League One. We want X, Y, Z for you if you want to go to League One. I was like, well, that's completely unrealistic. And it's not fair.
What teams were coming in for you in League One?
So I had Gillingham, who were obviously Steve Evans' former manager.
Yeah.
And I can't remember at the time, but I had another couple mid-table League One teams. Oh, Bolton as well. Bolton just come down, I think. Or maybe they... Yeah, maybe they just come down from the champ, but obviously they were struggling.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, it's like Bolton are on my doorstep. You're not going there. And then, yeah, I was like, well, I'm not going to League Two just to please you, because I'm like, why would I do that?
Yeah. Exactly.
And then they ended up saying, right, you're not going anyway. I ended up not playing, not being in the first squads of the season, and I was thinking, oh my god, wasting like 6 months of my career here. Team was like, no, the team weren't even playing that well actually.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, I've got a good chance of playing if you gave me a fair shot, but I'm not getting it. I was like, okay, cool. If I had the chance, and my agent spoke to the manager, it's like, if I have the chance to go in January, obviously I'm not playing games. I'm in the last year of my contract.
Yeah.
Will you let me go? And it's like, yeah, that's fine. And obviously you speak of like global pandemic.
Yeah.
Into sort of late November, December, we had like a spout of illness in the club. I think we had like 7 or 8 players that ended up being ill.
Wow.
And they ended up playing.
Was that through COVID though, I'm guessing, yeah?
Huh?
Was that through COVID, I'm guessing?
I wouldn't say it was COVID, right? Because obviously no one was tested or anything like that.
Yeah.
But there was a stage in the country where like a lot of people seemed to be ill.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I ended up playing really well through December. And my agent spoke to them at the end of December, was like, look, I know he's playing now. I know he's playing well. But can you still leave in January as you promised? It's like, yeah, don't worry about it. We played Burnley in the FA Cup in January.
Yeah.
I played really well. We lost 4-2, but I played really well. I played against, obviously, Chris Wood, Ashley Barnes, like Premier League strikers, did well against them. Was doing well in the league. And then, they came and was like, they were like, look, you can stay. We'll get promoted, blah, 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 blah. We just want you to think about it. And then I took a week and I was thinking about it. And then I was playing really well.
Yeah.
And then one of the centre-backs came back from injury and went straight back in the team.
Wow.
And I remember thinking, huh?
Did you feel hard done by, like, by that happening?
Yeah, you know what, right? I don't care, like, about money. Yeah. Well, obviously, everyone cares about money to an extent. But, like, the only thing I really want in my career is the chance to have my destiny in my own hands.
Yeah.
And if I don't play well, drop me. Like, obviously, it's understandable. If I play well, and I keep playing well, and you drop me, then there's literally in my head there's no decision to be made. It's like
Yeah.
no matter what I do, I cannot break this team.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I felt like every single chance I got to play in that season, I played well. But for in that decision of the managers was like, okay, I have to go now. There's no ifs, buts, or maybes. Like I'm playing
Yeah.
well, I'm enjoying my life. You're just gonna take me straight out the team once your centre back comes back in. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, well that's good, but I want to go. And then they ended up saying, no, we're not letting you go. I know we said that we'd let you go, but we're not. And I was like, yeah,
Wow.
but you promised me
Yeah.
8 weeks ago that I'd done this. It's not my fault. I've come in and actually played well because I'm a good player.
Yeah.
They was like, yeah, but we didn't promise that. And I was like, don't, because like I've never been angry. I'm not violent, but I will
Yeah.
smash up this office. Like, don't.
Yeah.
This is like my career you're messing about with. Like, and yeah, that conversation happened, and like I'm not a toxic person or a toxic player,
Yeah.
but that was the one time in my career where I thought, oh well, I'll just say I'm injured for like 4 months. Like I'm not training. But and like managers were saying that to me, and I was like, actually, I can't do it because any like it goes on. If someone rings Peterborough up or Darren Ferguson for an opinion on me, and I am a good person, and I do that for 4 months, what do you think they're going to say?
Yeah.
They can't wait to say like, oh, he's toxic, he did this, he did that.
Yeah.
Like it impacts my career.
Yeah. Definitely. Did you train through the global pandemic at Peterborough? Like, obviously, like after lockdown, did you manage to train with them or stuff like that?
Yeah. So obviously, once lockdown started, we were just basically all given training plans. Because obviously it was all up in the air whether we were going to return to play the league, whether
Yeah.
we were going to return to play the playoffs. I think the club knew that depending on how the season would be decided is whether we're going back for the playoffs or not.
Yeah.
Obviously with my contract as well, the season could possibly get extended beyond my contract date.
Yeah.
The club were like, well, we're discussing to see whether you're open to sign for like 3 months to be in the playoffs or whatever. Like there was so many things that were like up in the air at
Yeah.
the time.
Definitely.
But we were just like sent runs and stuff like that to do. There was no like team training or anything like that
Wow.
because people couldn't be within the same room as each other, could they?
Yeah. Did you get tested and stuff like that at Peterborough or?
No, because like obviously we broke up in March and we
Yeah.
didn't go back.
So was
So
that
that's the
your contract then just finished? Was it at that point?
yeah,
Or?
that was my contract. Well, my contract finished in June.
Yeah.
And once the season had been decided that it was going to finish the way it finished, we had a Zoom like collective call together to
Yeah.
basically say bye, and I had a phone call from the manager. That was it. There was no once.
Wow.
It was literally like we're gonna go to Bolton, and train and travel on the Friday before the Bolton game to Zoom with the players and manager. Phone call from the manager, and I had to organize myself to come back in and get my stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, so there was no.
Jesus.
It was literally like such a crazy period.
Right, that's mental. Um, how did it, like the whole lockdown stuff, affect you physically and mentally? Did it affect you at all, or did it affect you to an extent? Obviously, not being able to see your teammates and be able to train with them and stuff.
So I feel like obviously I started streaming FIFA and Football Manager. I think for my mental health, that's probably the best thing I've done.
Yeah.
Um, just getting out and um, just going on the runs and stuff. Obviously, that's
Yeah.
good for your mental health. And yeah, I spent like half of it with my family and half of it with my.
As HB said.
So I
Yeah.
was lucky in
As
the
well.
respect that we could still go on for walks, to have someone to speak to, because like it's been hard, very hard for a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely.
But I just feel like, from my perspective, just like speaking to people, and
Yeah.
I know obviously you'll feel this a little bit as well, like streaming yourself, like just interacting with people on a daily basis.
Yeah.
and just having like a laugh and a joke with people. That's like imperative to just like stay sane, really.
Yeah, definitely. Like there is like, especially with me as well. Like there is a few people I'll just give quick shout out to now. Like I am Jam, Will Jefferson. A few guys that have kept me in a sane mindset to be able to carry on with things. And Will's been there for me having calls and stuff, like phone
Yeah.
calls and stuff. So, obviously, as affected a lot of people. Obviously, with being a global pandemic, you're not allowed at your house unless you're going for
Mm,
exercise or you're going to work, and stuff like that. Obviously, it does affect along, you know, the whole world
yeah,
scale.
it's been hard. It's been
Yeah,
hard.
definitely. I do urge everyone out there as well. If anyone does need to talk, my Twitter DMs are always open. So like,
Yeah,
drop me a
100%.
message,
I
mate.
echo that.
I'll be there for you anytime. You know. Moving on, you know, with the rest of the doom and gloom, we'll move on to the whole Carlisle United. Now, this is why everyone's here, but we'll discuss the thing everyone wants to know at the end. But we'll let Rhys get the whole Carlisle stuff. His experiences of Carlisle and stuff. So we've been without a club for such a long time. So obviously you joined Carlisle in November, was it?
Mhm.
So obviously you're fairly new to the team still, I'd say. What made you choose Carlisle over the other clubs? And what clubs offered you before obviously choosing Carlisle?
Um. Well, I feel like I just need to let this go now. But it's been talked about quite a lot over the summer. But obviously it's weird because I knew I was leaving Peterborough anyway.
Yeah,
Um. Obviously, then the pandemic, and then it's like, okay, League One and League Two got a salary cap. There's no fans coming in. There's like scrambling. Like I don't know whether clubs are going to survive. It's going to be hard for clubs. Like, and the contracts that were being offered were like, whoa, wait a minute. This
yeah,
isn't what would have been offered like last year.
yeah,
It's like, yeah, but you've got to understand, like, there's going to be so many players that haven't got a club that I'm like, you know what? And I'm thinking in my head, you know what, right? I'm going to be strong. I'm going to back myself. Um, I I wouldn't say I'm a worrier. Obviously, everyone worries sometimes.
yeah,
I was out of a job for like 5 months. And but I'm just really determined that I wasn't just gonna take a move just to have a job.
yeah,
I was
definitely.
gonna like, I've worked for 10 years to get myself in a position. Like, I didn't want to throw it away just to have a little bit of stability.
Yeah,
Um, and I know this is crazy to a lot of people. But it's the way I sort of see my life. Like, I wouldn't say I'm a gambler, but I'd rather try for 10 years to get the contract that I want
yeah,
rather than take and live a comfortable life on more money than what you sort of sacrifice to just be chilling. But
yeah, definitely.
I'm never that person. Like, I always want to strive for more. I always want to do more. And I was like, look, I had some very, very good League Two offers.
Yeah,
But I didn't even listen to them. It's like I had 5 or 6 League One offers, but obviously one club out of nowhere nearly provided me with my dream and the thing I've been working towards my sort of, I won't say my whole career, but it's been the next steps. Like, I want to
yeah,
get to the champ. So
definitely.
like obviously I left Peterborough and I was thinking, right, I might have to go down to League Two, prove myself again.
Yeah,
But I don't mind it. It is what it is. Like, um, and then I had a few offers from League One. I was like, I'm actually like, when the offers come in and you're like, okay,
yeah,
I've had a few offers from League One already. Like, imagine what happens later on in the summer.
yeah,
And then I waited a little bit more. Obviously got the championship offer, and then it like kind of fell through. I'd said no to all the League One offers, but the whole time, my friend at Carlisle has been like, "We want to make you captain. We want to do this. Want to do that." And I'm like, I understand that, and I kept him in the loop. I was like,
yeah,
"Look, Beachy, obviously now he's Gaffer, but before it was Beachy. I want to play at the highest level, and he knows that. If this chance is coming through, then I need to I need to wait and see whether it plays out. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. But obviously he needs a centre back, if you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, definitely.
and
Um,
then obviously once that fell through, like with my agents, they were like, look, you've waited this far, obviously. So why don't you wait a little bit longer and see if, you know, someone gets injured in the champ, someone gets injured top of League One or whatever. And it's like, yeah, I'm willing to do that.
yeah, definitely.
And then it gets to a point where it's like, right, you've got 6 weeks before the transfer window opens again in January. Do you want to sit in your house and stream and play PlayStation, or do you want to go somewhere, get some fitness, get back playing some football, and then that'll lead you into a good place because coming up to the January transfer window? And it's like, yeah, I'm absolutely open to do that, because like, what else would I actually be doing? Just waiting for the offer that I want, but it could never come. And
yeah,
while I'm waiting, there's players that are playing that could potentially take the contract that I want. So it's like, why don't you put myself in the shop window?
yeah, definitely. At the current time, at the moment, you know, congratulations being top of League Two. Even though Newport have a game in hand, is just starting to set in that it's possible for Carlisle to actually win the league this season?
Obviously we're live and this has been recorded. Do you know what? We've got a very, very good group of lads. And we've got a manager that will be very successful in his career. If you look at League Two, and look at the finances, you look at like Salford and Tranmere, and Forest Green, and I can speak personally because I know the finances involved, and I know the contract offers that I myself might have been given from these clubs, to know that they are not in the same league as Carlisle and should not be competing on the same scale. So then with that in mind, then like Carlisle should not be getting promoted or anywhere near it. So we'll just stay under the radar and we'll just take it game by game. And
exactly.
Like there's no pressure on us, because I'm sure our top earner will be on less than a third of what Salford's top earner is.
Wow, that's mental.
So like in terms of finances, like they should win the league. Tranmere should get promoted. We should be about, I think we budget wise will be like 12 or 14. So we're massively overachieving.
Yeah, definitely. Did you ever get an offer from Tranmere in your career at any point?
Obviously Keith's the manager of Tranmere, isn't he? So yeah. Keith's like, obviously we kind of have a love-hate relationship, but it's more respect now that obviously I've left Rochdale. So
definitely.
He does like me as a player. That's all I can say.
Definitely. Who would you say is the most serious player at Carlisle, and who's like the class clown at Carlisle?
Most serious. To be fair, like John Mellis plays with an edge. Like I always think he's gonna get booked. Like he's always like, he tackles so strong, he runs around, he's like the kind of guy that you want in the transition next year. But like most serious, like Aaron Hayden.
Wow.
He is he's the vice captain, but he's the fine man. He's the guy that, you know, people look up to on a match day.
Yeah, definitely. So like what's the obviously now you're in the COVID state, so do you like get tested every day when at Carlisle, or is that the thing in League Two?
Well, yeah, the club follow like the EFL protocols, and you have to get tested a certain amount of times. You have to wash your own kit. You're not allowed to shower.
So the club, so it's not an actual joint thing where the kit man washes the kit now?
No, but just because of COVID.
Wow. That's mental.
Gone back to the olden days, mate. Not allowed to shower after training. You have to come in by yourself. You have to get tested regularly. Yeah, you have to wash your own kit. You're not allowed to do this. You have to wear masks. Like,
Wow.
you can't come in too early before report times. Don't want you hanging around. It's like, yeah, but I'm traveling like 90 minutes to Carlisle. Like, what if I miss, like, hit a little bit of traffic? Obviously because of COVID, but still, you never know. Like, I'm late for training, but yeah, it's definitely weird. And obviously, the biggest thing is not playing in front of fans.
Yeah, definitely. It must be like a mad thing. Like, obviously, the fan base at Carlisle, from what I can see anyway, the fans absolutely love you, mate. You know, it's not like, obviously anything that I've seen about you in terms of that is positive. So what are the club facilities like at Carlisle?
They're good for the level. Like, obviously, our pitch is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest pitch in League Two, and it's a carpet. We have like a couple of pitches at the ground in which I trained at, but obviously at the moment, like, if I look outside my window, there's like 2 foot of snow.
Well, I
So
mean,
the pitches aren't really.
I wish I could look out the window and see that, but certainly not for where I am at the moment. What's your individual targets for this season at
Um,
Carlisle?
to be honest, like, I don't. Well, obviously, I have a goal target,
Yeah.
which I'm not gonna disclose. But like, just I wouldn't say I have a target, but obviously, I feel a little bit aggrieved after what happened to me in the summer. So I'm
Yeah.
coming out with the season, and it's like, nah, like, I'm not having it anymore.
Yeah, definitely. So who would you say at the moment is the best player at Carlisle?
Oh, I don't know if I could answer that. We've got some good players. I enjoy playing with Aaron Hayden. He's good. He can go on to play a lot higher. George Tanner
Yeah.
is very good as well. Callum Guy is the best midfielder in League Two. John Mellish has scored 13 goals from centre mid,
Yeah.
and he hasn't scored for a month. So
Wow.
make of that what you will. Like, Joshua Coyote is being watched by Premier League teams. Winger scored 3 and 4. Like, Louis Alexandre, I play with at Rochdale, and he's a very, very good player for League Two level. Like, it's impossible. Our keeper kicks at 80 yards and has the best save percentage in League Two, but we haven't conceded a lot of shots on target. So, like, it's very, very hard for me to say this guy is the best.
Yeah, it's mental. Right, so I'm gonna get down to the question everybody, and I mean like everyone wants to hit like me to ask you anyway. Are you staying at Carlisle?
Am I staying?
Yeah. Are you staying?
I don't know. I don't know. Like, all I can say is that I really, really have enjoyed my time here so far. And like, obviously, there's not many times in your career where you get a situation where the manager loves you. You like, you have such a good relationship with the fans. You have such a good relationship with your fellow players.
Yeah.
And you have a chance to do something special.
Yeah.
So that's all I can say on that.
Yeah, it's fair enough, man. It's definitely fair enough. Moving into the last topic of the podcast, which is obviously streaming and content creating. So, what made you want to stream and obviously create content?
To be honest, right, I'm a massive gamer anyway. So after training, I think the first thing that I do is to turn on my PlayStation and go and play FIFA, and that could be me until it's dinner time or until my belly's rumbling and it's like, oh, it's 8 o'clock, you haven't eaten all day. So obviously the thing that kind of pushed me into it, there was like a FIFA tournament, like the first week of lockdown. And I like, obviously, because of like when there's any sort of FIFA related thing that the club do, they know how much of a FIFA geek I was, so the club put me forward for it. So then they put me forward for like the FIFA tournament on behalf of them, and I said, like, oh, why don't we stream it? Like, because obviously the fans can't watch the team on a Saturday at 3. Why don't we stream that so that at least get something to watch at 3.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, we'll do that. Come into the club, and obviously Corona struck. And then
Wow.
they were like, can you stream it from like where you are? Because obviously I went up north. And I was like looking into sort of ways in which I could do it.
Yeah.
Streamed it from a PlayStation, and because people could bet on it, there were like 2,000 viewers in there.
Wow.
And then I was like, oh, actually, should do this a little bit more often.
Yeah.
And then that was like, because I thought about doing it previously, and I do love playing games, so I'd be spending that amount of time on the games anyway.
Yeah.
And then obviously through lockdown and that tournament, that was my kind of like final push where it was like, no, come on, like you need to do it now.
Yeah, definitely. Was there any influences that you look up to? You obviously in your streaming career, content creating career?
Yeah, because it's like, even though like I've started streaming, I still watch streams. Like I watched the FIFA streamers. I watched hashtag Harry. I watched hashtag Ryan. What was that hashtag? Gorilla,
Yeah.
Kurt, Nepemfest. Like all the like big like FIFA streamers. I used to watch them. And then obviously when I wanted to start streaming Football Manager, I was looking around to see if anyone actually streams it.
Yeah.
And like I say, the second biggest Football Manager streamer is the Peter fan. That like helped me massively.
Yeah, definitely. What would you say your goals are as a content creator? Is there any like subscriber goals, followers goals, etc., for like Twitch and YouTube?
It's weird because like I was sort of my whole sort of streaming career, I was waiting for myself to get a club to, you know, sort us a proper streaming schedule. Like
Yeah.
I did it roughly in lockdown for like 2 weeks, and it was like quite successful. And I was like, right, you know, when I get myself signed, I'll know what I can do. So then I can go, I stream Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just for example, from 5 to 8. So people that know or want to come in know when I'm streaming.
Yeah.
And sort of waiting. November come, obviously I'm at Carl now, and obviously I'm training. I've gone from like not playing football for 8 months to training really hard and playing lots of games.
Yeah.
And it's like I really wanted to set a proper streamer schedule, but at the same time, like I'm tired. I can't. You know what I mean? Like
Definitely.
I'd love to stream as much as I could,
Yeah.
and I'm just being a little bit more sort of flexible. Well, I haven't streamed
Yeah.
for the last 2 weeks because of Christmas and stuff
It's
like
obviously
that. So
understandable, mate. Really elite. Would you want to pursue a career in content creation after football?
I do. Yeah, this is the thing. Like I really do enjoy it.
Yeah.
I like throughout lockdown, it kept me going. And I really do enjoy it. I've made like links with people that I never thought I'd make links with. Like Ian Sterling knows who I am. Do you know how much I love Love Island?
Yeah,
Like that's mad because I raided him. And like just even like things, just meeting people, like obviously coming on here and stuff like that. Like
yeah.
they're like massive. Like, and I wouldn't say I'm pushing hard to be a content creator.
Yeah.
I like playing FIFA and I like playing Football Manager.
Yeah.
I like interacting with people. There's no I want 1,000 subscribers or I want anything like this.
Yeah.
But for as much as like I enjoy it, I do like doing it. So
Yeah, definitely.
I'm just gonna continue to do it. If I enjoy it, I'll enjoy it. If I don't, like there's no pressure or there's no rush. But I am sort of signed by a team which has professional players
Wow.
as a content creator. So
Which team, if you don't mind mentioning?
well, it's called For FIFA Sake. So they've got like a couple pro players and a couple pro footballers, and we have a good chance to make some cool content and stuff like that.
Wow.
But I've just literally been so busy playing football and stuff like that that I haven't thinking. But yeah, like football will always come first.
Yeah, definitely.
But
That's 100%.
if I get time and stuff like that, it's nice because I feel like what a lot of people have said, like it's nice to just speak to people and know that professional footballers are normal people, even though I'm like, well, I've got 2 arms, I've got 2 shoulders, like, I've got one head, like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, exactly. Like, as I say, mate, like, as I said to you before, like, we started, I was absolutely fucking gassed. Like, anyone that, like, ADW FIFA, Jubby19, speak to any of them, they'll tell you, like, bro, I was absolutely nervous before this, mate, like, you're one of the soundest guys.
nothing to be scared of. I'm probably more nervous than you, mate.
I'm like you're one of the soundest guys that I've spoken to anyway. On that note, obviously supporting Man United. January window's open.
Yeah.
If you could make any changes to who you want in and who you want out, what would they be and why?
At Man United.
Yeah.
Probably not me, but can we sign a centre back?
Rhys Bennett to Man United confirmed. No, I'm joking, man. I'm joking. Where would you see yourself? Where would you see yourself overall in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, the goal. Well, I'm 29 now, so. Yeah. But I'd like to think that I can play until I'm 36. Touch wood.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem. Well, I'm going to touch wood again before I even say it. Fitness isn't really my problem, and I feel like I have the capabilities to play for quite a long time.
Yeah.
The goal is to try and reach the highest level I can.
Yeah.
And if I get to a level where it's like, yeah, this is me, I can't play any higher than this, then I've done what I've done exactly all I could in my football career. I'd never be the person to be like, I'll play at this level, but I'll make a lot of money. And even though obviously money's the most important thing in this world, pretty much, it allows you the freedoms and all the other kind of stuff that people like.
Yeah.
I just always wanted to play at the highest level, and it's like, if I played at the highest level and I don't know, I was a League 2 footballer or I was a League 1 footballer, then that's it. Like, I did the best I could. Like, I squeezed the most I could out of my ability. Yeah. And I'll sort of leave my career and be very, very happy with it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely. The General Gamer says in the chat there, it's weird being a fan of the Stags and now a mod of his channel to see how sound and normal it is. It blew him away.
I see, this is the thing. People, I don't know if it's me or I don't know if it's the kind of perspective of the footballer's persona, but I literally am just like a normal person.
Yeah, like definitely. I think like obviously the football persona in itself, people they obviously will look up to you as an influencer type of thing, to say the least on that one. If anyone does have any questions in the chat as well before we do wrap up, make sure you put them in the chat, boys, and girls. Obviously, let Rhys know like what you want to ask and stuff like that. Obviously, is there anyone that you would want me to rate, like any channels or anything like that? Obviously, you're the guest on the podcast, so I'll let you sort this one out.
No, it's your channel, my friend.
Mate, come on, don't do me like that. I'm being nice here. I'm being nice.
I'm just looking. I'm actually looking at it now. I'm seeing who's on.
I mean, have you ever heard of Foot FG before?
I have, yeah.
Do you reckon we go and do it then? Foot FG.
Yeah, well, yeah. I'll go with that. We'll go with that.
Boys, we're gonna rate the Foot FG _FG. But yeah. Oh, my own shot. Oh yeah, it is. Boys, we are going to raid for FG, man. Obviously, thank you so much for Rhys hopping in to the podcast. Absolute legend on that one. Absolute quality as well.
No, it's great. It's great to be here. It's great.
Definitely, man. Thank you so much as well, mate. It's obviously the biggest podcast that I've done. And thank you everyone in the chat as well, as obviously had to put up with me, and stuff like that. If you don't want to go and check out on YouTube and all that good stuff, make sure you go and do that. Obviously go tell for FG that show them some love and all that good stuff as well, guys. And peace out, man. Peace out.